A torn back, a silent mouth, a crown pressed into skin. Stay there for a moment. Do not rush past the wounds, because you already know the story. Do not let familiarity make you blind. The suffering of Jesus is not a religious backdrop. It is the place where the heart of God comes near enough to bleed. Isaiah 53 does not speak like polished theory. It sounds like grief. It sounds like astonishment. He is despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. Not distant from grief, acquainted with it. He knows its face. He knows its weight. He knows the hour when sorrow sits beside you and says nothing. This is one of the holy mysteries at the center of our faith. The one who made human flesh entered it. The one who upholds all things took on weakness. The Holy One stepped into a world of disease, betrayal, violence, and death, and did not remain at a safe distance from any of it. He came near, near enough to be misunderstood, near enough to be hated, near enough to be touched by lepers, interrupted by beggars, wept over by sisters, kissed by a traitor, condemned by sinners, and nailed to wood by the hands he made. There is no coldness in Jesus. When Isaiah calls him a man of sorrows, he is not saying sorrow mastered him. He is saying sorrow met its match in one who would carry it without collapsing under it. Christ did not only observe human pain. He entered it cleanly, fully, willingly. He did not borrow a body as a costume. He became flesh. He walked among the bruised. He stood in the place of the condemned. He bore what was not his, so that those who had no righteousness of their own might be brought near. And still, we often look at the cross too quickly. We say Jesus died for sin, and that is gloriously true. But Isaiah slows us down. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Not only our guilt, our griefs, our sorrows. The text widens the frame. The cross is not less than substitution for sin. It is that, blazing at the center. But the one who bore sin also stepped under the full misery sin has unleashed in the world. He carried sorrow because he came to conquer the kingdom of sorrow. He bore grief because he came to undo the reign of death. He was pierced for transgression because transgression was the deepest wound of all. Listen to the terrible tenderness of verse 5. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. For our transgressions, for our iniquities, for our peace. This is where every mask falls off. The cross was not caused by vague human brokenness floating in the air. It was our rebellion, our crookedness, our refusal of God, our private sins, our polished sins, the sins we defend, the sins we hide, the sins committed with a shaking hand, and the sins committed with a smile. And yet, Isaiah does not leave you staring only at what you have done. He makes you look at what Christ has done with what you have done. He was wounded, he was bruised, he was chastised. The judgment that would have fallen on you fell on him, not by accident, not as tragedy alone, not because evil men briefly got the upper hand over a noble teacher. The servant came for this. Jesus was not caught in the machinery of history. He gave himself into it. He set his face toward the cross. He drank the cup. He stood where sinners should stand, so sinners could stand where sons and daughters stand. This is love with scars on it. And notice what Isaiah says about us. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way. Sheep do not wander by brilliance. They drift. They follow appetite. They move away from the shepherd one mouthful at a time. That is the human story. Not only defiance in its loudest form, but turning, drifting, preferring our own way, trusting our own wisdom, naming our own path as freedom, even while it leads us into thorns. Everyone, the moral, the immoral, the religious, the skeptical, the disciplined, the restless, everyone. And then comes the sentence that holds the world still. And the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. Laid on him. Not ignored, not excused, not minimized. Laid on him. Here is the wonder no human mind would have invented. God does not save by pretending sin is small. He saves by judging it in the flesh of the spotless one. The innocent for the guilty, the righteous for the unrighteous, the shepherd for the sheep, the servant for the wanderers. So when you look at Jesus wounded, do not only see pain, see purpose, see obedience, see mercy deeper than the sea and stronger than death. See the holiness of God and the love of God meeting without compromise. And if tonight your heart is heavy, if grief has made your chest feel tight, if shame has been speaking in a voice that sounds final, then come here quietly. Come to the suffering servant. He does not turn away from sorrow. He has carried it. He does not recoil from the repentant sinner. He has made peace by his own blood. You do not need to make his wounds meaningful. They already are. You do not need to add to what he bore. You cannot. You are invited to behold, to kneel, to trust. The risen Christ is still the wounded Christ, not defeated, glorified. The marks remain, not as open loss, but as everlasting testimony. Your salvation was not spoken into being at a distance. It was purchased, costly, personal, holy. So be still for one more breath. The man of sorrows is the Lord of glory. The wounded one is the healing one. The rejected one is the chosen king. And the one who carried sin is worthy of your worship. This is extreme faith. Until next time.